Hello, and welcome to Morrison Urina's show. Let's talk immigration. It's episode 55. Okay. My name is Curtis Morrison. I'm a co-founder of Morrison Urina and an immigration attorney who is based in San Diego, California, but I'm barred, licensed in California and DC, and admitted to federal courts, many federal courts across the land, all federal courts in California, the federal court in the District Court of Columbia, Western District of Texas, Western District of Wisconsin. I think I'm admitted to Colorado. I just paid that fee recently. So, and I'm leaving some out. So anyway, if I'm not admitted somewhere, I have a colleague who is, so we can help you anywhere in the U.S. because immigration law is federal law for the most part, right? So anyway, just a reminder. What am I going to talk about today? Okay, first thing I want to talk about is the backlogs that Iranians face in getting interviews, like at NVC, right? So when you select an embassy location, whether it's an employment, family-based, or DV, you need to decide between those three embassies usually: Abu Dhabi, Yerevan, and Ankara. Well, because we filed so many mandamus lawsuits for visa applicants awaiting interviews at these embassies, we have data that is not public that I would like to share with you, okay? So, I wonder if I can make that bigger by making me smaller. Oh, yeah, perfect. I kind of like me small down there. I feel like a little pocket person. Okay, so we have from 2023, we have data on the size of the immigrant visa backlogs at U.S. Embassy Ankara and U.S. Embassy Abu Dhabi. The immigrant visa backlog, what that means is how many DQ visa applicants are waiting for interviews, okay? At Ankara, we see that as of March, okay, that was more than 6 months ago, 1,827 immediate relative. That includes IR1, spouses of U.S. citizens, and IR5, parents of U.S. citizens, and IR2, children of U.S. citizens. Okay, minor children of U.S. citizens. Okay, second thing is 1368. This is the number of family preference category visa applicants awaiting interviews at U.S. Embassy Ankara. Also a big backlog. And then employment is 761. Now, we've got even more recent data from Abu Dhabi. The reason is we had a lawsuit where we were fighting back and forth on behalf of a plaintiff that was waiting for an interview from Abu Dhabi. And as of July 11th, their immediate relative backlog was insane, 4,408, okay, visa applicants. And that was many more from a year ago. If you look, it's gone up since 2020 to 2021 to 2022 and now, okay? So it continues to grow. Something that's frustrating about being in the immediate relative backlog is when family preference category F2A petitioners naturalize with their really old priority dates from 2019 or 2020, they jump in front of you in line. So sometimes when you're in the immediate relative queue, you stay in the same place or lose ground. So that's frustrating for them, but it's great for the F2As. They're able to escape the black hole of the family preference category backlog. Family preference category backlog seems smaller, and so, it's not that bad. But the thing is, these embassies, including these two embassies, they do not prioritize family preference categories, okay? They're not as bad as, say, U.S. Embassy Islamabad that actually almost completely ignores them. But it's bad. Now, since we're talking about this, employment preference, Abu Dhabi, 887. Would you believe in the last 3 months where we have data, July, August, and September of 2023, U.S. Embassy Abu Dhabi did not issue a single EB2 visa. That's usually EB2 NIW, National Interest Waiver. These are immigrants that are in the interest of the United States, like scientists, engineers, and professors. But we didn't. No, not Abu Dhabi. They're not going to take care of the U.S. national interest. So I have recently filed a lawsuit on behalf of, I thought it was an Iranian, I was wrong, a Pakistani EB2 NIW that's awaiting an interview at U.S. Embassy Abu Dhabi. And I have decided that that's my new thing. I'm going to change that. So if you are an EB2 NIW awaiting an interview at U.S. Embassy Abu Dhabi or even Ankara, you need to get with me, and we need to do a mandamus lawsuit, and we need to get that those embassies scheduling those interviews. It's a very compelling fact that they've stopped altogether, that they issued 0 for 3 months in a row. Judges are going to love that. Okay. Now, frequently asked question: why don't I have this kind of data for Yerevan? And I do, but it's like from 2021 or 2022. It's old. And the reason is because when we sue U.S. Embassy Yerevan, we don't sue them as often, or we sue NBC, State Department, on behalf of applicants awaiting interviews at U.S. Embassy Yerevan. They just schedule the interview. Okay. So they don't fight us with a declaration. We don't have a declaration for Yerevan that's recent because of that. Also, let me just say this: Yerevan does not have the backlog that Abu Dhabi and Ankara have. So what I would like is for all of my clients and the people in my sphere of influence to just choose Yerevan. Okay. I've been saying this for at least 2 years, maybe 3 years now. Just choose Yerevan. And what'll happen is the State Department will assign everyone else randomly to Abu Dhabi and Ankara that aren't paying attention. If they assign you to those embassies, just email them, NBC or KCC if you're a DV, and say, that's not convenient for me. It's more convenient for me to go to Yerevan. Okay? U.S. Embassy Yerevan. If I had a Yerevan flag, I'd be waving it. Much better embassy. Okay? But even if you don't transfer to Yerevan, there's another thing, and you could do this concurrently too. You can move your interview location and file a mandamus lawsuit. You can do more than one thing. Okay? You could do those things concurrently. So I think I've covered everything I want to cover about those relative backlogs between Abu Dhabi and Ankara, and my advice to the Iranian immigrant diaspora generally: choose Yerevan. Okay. Now, anything else I want to talk about today? My other law firm, Red Eagle Law, we're doing a group lawsuit for Pakistanis or Afghans that are awaiting interviews at U.S. Embassy Islamabad, all family-based visa categories. Anybody that's been DQ for more than a year have to be, its family preference category has to be current in the visa bulletin. Okay, so I know there's millions of people out there, literally, I think it's 2 million, family preference category F4s that are not current yet. This lawsuit can't fix that. You can't be plaintiffs. Your priority date has to be current in the visa bulletin to participate in that group lawsuit. Anyway, I'm bringing this up because the ending of that onboarding is Friday the 24th, which is 2 days. So it's one of those things I've heard now for a couple years from Pakistanis that say, we aren't getting interviews. U.S. Embassy Islamabad is just not scheduling us. And I've filed 2 group lawsuits over this, Naveed and Iqbal. Iqbal is still pending. And I totally recognize the need for this lawsuit. So I'm just hoping that everybody that has reached out to me over the last couple of years that says, hey, we need this group lawsuit, that you get on the group lawsuit before it's too late. Because I'm filing it December 1st, but we need to know who the plaintiffs are by Friday. And after Friday, it's too late. Okay, you missed the bus. Don't miss the bus. You really don't want to miss the bus. Let me tell you why you don't want to miss the bus. And this is true with all immigration matters generally. Trump or DeSantis, the Republican contenders for the presidency, who could be president in January of 2025, January 20th of 2025, they have plans to end immigration as we know it. There are entire visa categories like F4 and F3 that they may actually just take off the map to where even though you're waiting in that queue, not anymore, all they need is control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. And believe me, they're trying, okay? So I hate to always be like, the sky is falling, but my experience has been the sky is always falling, right? So pretty frustrating. I see some questions here. Let's jump into questions. If you have a question, I just realized I didn't activate Telegram. Yikes. If you have a question, go to YouTube or Facebook. That's the best place to watch. Okay. I think I activated Telegram. I never know for sure. Okay. Omar says, hello, Curtis. How are you? I am good. Thank you. YouTube comment. DV 2021, good luck. When there will be any updates? It has been more than a year since the last news. Actually, I did give you some news earlier this year where the government said, hey, look, the Supreme Court did this, and this impacts our case a certain way. And then Jesse Bless, on behalf of the Gomez plaintiffs, filed a response to that was very accurate that said, no, the government's wrong. So that has been the last update, and that has been within the last year. That was earlier this year. But substantive update, you're right. We're awaiting the outcome of the appeal. Oral arguments were over a year ago, and we don't know when that outcome will come, okay? I will get asked maybe 50 to 100 times a day when that outcome will come, even though I have repeatedly said from the beginning, we don't know when the outcome of an appeal will happen. So let's see how many more times I get asked that question today. That'll be fun. Mr. Morrison, how are you? Is there any news about good luck? There we go. There's CDD. Should be a drinking game. I would get a drink every time. No news about good luck. Awaiting the outcome of the appeal. Homer says, if someone has a green card and want to marry, how his wife or fiance will come to the U.S. and how long it takes these days, that process. Well, first of all, a green card holder cannot petition for their fiance. Only a U.S. citizen can. So if a green card holder wants to petition for someone they love and want to build a life with, they need to physically marry them first. Requires some travel usually. And then that process for a green card holder will take 2.5 to 5 years, maybe 6 years if it's Islamabad. We can't get it down with precision any more than that because the visa bulletin is not current for F2A category. If it's a U.S. citizen marrying a foreign national, then that process is a lot closer to 2 years. But green card holder marrying a foreign national, that petition process is going to take 2.5, 5 or 6 years. And I realize that a lot of green card holders do not hire me to handle that process because they find somebody else who will tell them it takes less time. Okay. They're not telling you the truth. Like nobody can predict the future, but I like people to have realistic expectations about what's going to happen. I'm not going to lie to you so that you give me money. So just keep in mind the visa bulletin, F2A, not current. There's nothing an attorney can do to change that. So if an attorney is telling a green card holder that they can get their spouse in the country in less than 2 years right now, that's bad news. You shouldn't be doing that. Anyway, Homer says, I decided to take another path. Okay. Congratulations on this other path. Okay. Yousef, hello. He says, hi, Curtis, the best of all time. I want to follow all the lives, but I don't expect English well. If you could bring out the lyrics at the bottom of the screen in French, that will make me happy. Je regrette. D'accord. Je parle Gonaz avec la solution. I don't know. Le français est très mal. Mi français. Okay. DB Cooper. Hello, sir. Can you show me as the backlog in Nairobi, Kenya embassy from 2020? I'm not a Coke machine. You can't put 2 quarters in and have me just give you what you want. I think I might have that, though. It would take me probably 5 or 10 minutes to find it. So email me or message me and I'll look for it. I don't know why you want it, because 2020, we're not in 2020, we're in 2023. So what the backlog at Nairobi was in 2020 is not relevant. What the backlog is now is relevant. And I think Nairobi has a significant backlog right now. It's not my favorite embassy. I don't like what they're doing, particularly with Somalis who they are not recognizing their education certificates. And sometimes they're denying them under an INA grounds that they should not be denying them under. So I'm glad that you brought up Nairobi. If you have been refused a visa at Nairobi as a DV, and it's because they're not looking at your Somali documents, I want to see your refusal notice and I want to talk to you. Okay. Vladimir says, hello, Mr. Morrison. Hello, Vladimir. I am the plaintiff in Gomez, DV 2020. You're not a plaintiff in Gomez. You're a class member in Gomez. The reason I know this is all the plaintiffs in Gomez were DV plaintiffs, were issued visas and they disappeared afterward. They're living in Florida probably. Okay, so you are a Gomez class member. Please tell me, is it possible that for some reason the appellate court is deliberately delaying its decision? Yes, but I don't know why they would do that. Or does the appeal court really have so many cases that are more priority than ours? Yes, that's also true. The appeals court has very many cases and many, many important issues. Sometimes you see an appeal that is not an important issue for sure, but then there are many issues on appeal that are between 2 parties that don't involve the government, that involve the lives of a lot of different people and their rights. And also they're involving the rights and lives of people within the United States. Sometimes the liberties of people, like they're going to go to prison or the death penalty or something like that. So there are many appeals taking place in the U.S. And unfortunately, we're not in the position to decide which one gets priority. Only judges control their docket. They're in the best position to do that. Yousef wants to know the news for 2020. I don't have news for 2020, so that was short. Okay. Every week you stream in, but you don't say hoping see the order next episode. Why? Okay. I hope we see the order next episode. Episode 56. That would be a great Thanksgiving present from the Circuit Court of Appeals for the District Court of Columbia, especially if the order is in our favor, which is my preference. I'm not so much, I want the order as soon as possible. I want the right order. So whatever needs to happen for that to happen. Okay. Just in case. maybe an appeal decision for DV 2020-2021 will be available after DV cancellation by Trump. That is one possible outcome. It still would not be the end, however, because these visas have been reserved by a federal judge. And in the U.S., 3 branches of government that are equal branches of government, the judiciary, Congress, and the executive, which would be Trump. And Trump cannot shut down what judges say, just like judges can't necessarily shut down what the executive does. They're equal branches of government. So these visas from 2020 and 2021 that have been reserved, I don't think Trump can do anything about that. Something interesting is the Trump administration had appealed the first Gomez order where Judge Mehta reserved the visas in September 30th, 2020. And then they dropped that appeal in early 2021. Okay. So it's the Biden administration that's fighting you right now, not the Trump administration. The Trump administration had appealed an order and then they dropped the appeal. Now, the reason they probably dropped it is because their attorneys were pretty busy trying to keep everybody in that administration out of prison. But it's still interesting. And I don't know. We could speculate for hours on what would happen if Trump's elected president. Let's just hope he doesn't get elected. DB Cooper, in your own aspect view, do you think DV 2020 will finally get justice in 2024, or should we move on? Well, DB Cooper, if you have plan Bs, if you have another option to make your life better, you need to pursue that. You can pursue 2 different things concurrently, okay? And then whichever one works out. People that have the most success in life are the ones that like try every single path, see which one's working, and then surrender the ones that aren't working and stick to the one that's working, right? So I hope that if you have another path to move your life forward, that you're not putting it on hold, okay? Nobody should be putting other paths on hold. They should be concurrently pursuing all paths that make your lives better, especially in the context of DV 2020. There are like 40,000 or so, who knows, Gomez class members that want 9,000 visas. A lot of people are going to be disappointed. With good luck plaintiffs, same situation. There are 7,000 reserved visas and 20,000 plaintiffs that do not have visas. So not a lot of people are going to be disappointed, even if we win the appeal. So if you have another opportunity, I'm not telling you to put that other opportunity on hold. I get asked a lot, should I go study in Europe? Yes, go study in Europe. Should I pursue an employment visa in Canada? Yes, you're going to be cold, but yes, do it. Okay. Just in case said, thanks for your answer. 23 minutes in, I've been talking really fast. I apologize for that. And that is all the questions that we have. Any more questions you ask on YouTube or Facebook? There was a new visa bulletin that came out 8 days ago, but it's the same basically as the one before it, except for the DVs, I think it advanced. So there's not much to talk about there. That's all I have today. It doesn't look like there's any more. Nope. No more questions from YouTube or Facebook. So if you do have a question, even though tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the US, I'm probably going to be working. I'll be answering people on Telegram, WhatsApp, and email. So just reach out to me if you do have a question. Wait a second here. Thanks for that, Canada. Here I come. Okay, DB Cooper. Just wear layers. Wear a hat. Keep your ears warm. Hola, Juliet. Me español très muy triste. Okay. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'll see you next week for episode 56 of Let's Talk Immigration.